Hey guys, so in today's video, I didn't have a video of it while it was stuck in the in the mud and snow. But as you can see, I got our tractor royally stuck in the one of the pastures in the back property. This was a result of the geothermal installation that we did. That a lot of that still hasn't settled, and the drainage is kind of all screwed up still. But it's pretty good and stuck. I tried using the bucket, normal tricks, pieces of wood, things like that. It was so wedged into that mud that nothing worked. So yeah, so this video is going to be about how my idea of how to get it out without bringing in a wrecking crew, with a big winch cable and everything, and we'll see how this goes. So my idea is to go to Harbor Freight and get a winch. I think it'd be good to have on the property anyways. Just we've gotten lawnmowers and small things stuck before, so we'll see. See if Harbor Freight has any winches that'll work. All right, so like I said, I went to Harbor Freight and grabbed a winch. Hopefully that's powerful enough. The tractor weighs probably, I'm guessing, with um, the front end loader, probably, I don't know, 3,000 pounds. It's actually not too heavy, so I figured I'd go a little higher. It's not like I'm lifting the whole thing off the ground or anything. And then I also bought this, which is the hitch receiver mount for a truck. So we'll see if that is helpful at all. So let's get this thing unboxed. So now that I've got everything unboxed, I just wanted to quickly go through all the components one more time now that everything's actually out in the open. So you got the winch, you've got the wiring harness for both the onboard switch, rocker switch, and the remote. You have the actual remote, the actual rocker switch, mounting plate, feeder, all of your electrical cables, circuit breaker, which is nice because that looks like it should be able to be. I mean, it says circuit breaker, so I'm hoping that means you can reset it. Sometimes they're thermal breakers, so as it cools back down, it'll reclose itself. I'm not sure about this one, but I've seen those in the past. Like I said, you got your boots, your mounting hardware, and this is just a pull strap so that when you're into free spool mode, that you can just kind of walk away with it without having to stick your fingers in here. And that's pretty much it. So here is the hitch receiver mount for the winch all assembled. Really, there's nothing to really do other than mount these little brush guard kind of things on the side, and then that just goes into your receiver, and then we'll get the winch mounted over here. So I found a little problem with this particular winch with this mount. The holes obviously don't line up, which is fine because it did come with the plate. But not only that, but the guide on the front, if you can see that, there's nothing to mount that to because they made the guide hole so wide. So I either need to find this part, the hitch mount that matches with this, or just customize this to see if I can just get it to fit with using the bracket that came with the winch, and then just figuring out some way to mount the guide up front here. So as you probably saw, the drill bit was spinning. I lost my chuck key, so I had to go get another one. And these drill bits that I have are so dull that it's not even going through the metal. So let's see, grab a screwdriver or something. So get this all straightened up and start over. All right, let's try this again. That's a little more like it. Alright, so I'm not going to drill these two holes just because they're in the channel here for the hitch mount. I don't think it's really necessary though. There's plenty of holes here. So there's, we've got these go to the actual winch, and then this one bolts the plate down, and even these are gonna still clamp down on this. So I don't need these other two holes. And then, you know, this will hopefully just ride right up close to the edge here, and then I'll put the guides, the cable guides on this side. So let's bring this back into the house because it's like 20 degrees in the garage right now, and it's getting chilly. All right, making some progress. So holes lined up perfectly, no problems there. This part worked out well. I wasn't sure if it would, you know, because I'm kind of just putting it in that gap there, but that worked out well. Really, the only thing I've got to run to the hardware store and get. I had to use two of the longer bolts that came with this. I wish they came with one more, but the only other ones are they're even shorter. So because it's made for the little plate, not to be doubled up like this. So I just need to get one more longer bolt, and then we should be good to go, and then we can start mounting the wiring. I do have to say, even though the wiring diagram is pretty simple, I do have to appreciate that they color-coded every single piece. So, yeah, go Harbor Freight. Alright, so she's all mounted, wired up. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with all the wiring, so right now it's just kind of all zip-tied. I'll figure out a better way to, you know, get this mounted more long-term, but at least theoretically, it should work. So let's get this put on the truck and see what it looks like. All right, so there she is. We'll see if this works. So one of the things that I was kind of looking up was, you know, if I could use the Pro Power on board, you know, in the back here to power it, but it doesn't look like. Oh, and I guess I should have checked to make sure that that's not going to hit. Holy moly. Let me just remove this. That is close. Oh, I got lucky there. I wasn't even thinking about it. Looks like it's just resting on the cables there. Yep, it's just touching. All right, so be careful of that so you don't ruin your tailgate. But yeah, so I was I was thinking about using the Pro Power on board, but you need so much power if you need it, if you put it in an AC to DC converter, that it's not really worth going down that route. Instead, what I think I'll do with this is I'll just grab a spare battery that I've got from the boat and RV basically, and I'll just throw that in the back and then just use a charger on it for now, and that should work. Alright, so I ended up just grabbing a lawnmower battery out of the lawnmower. I have no idea if this is charged or not, so I grabbed the battery charger as well. So let's flip on the generator. And Oh, let me plug this the remote in. So I got the remote connected, and oh, that's not a good sign. Guessing smoke is not a good thing. I mean, these battery terminals are pretty bad. Yeah, that's not good. I think that battery is shot. All right, that didn't go well. All right, so I've got it hooked up to this marine battery instead. So the reason I didn't want to do that is because the terminals are bigger than the little one battery. But apparently that one's shot, so let's try a battery that's actually charged. Okay, or I'll go back to the drawing board and figure out why this isn't working. I don't know if the solenoid's bad or what's going on. Battery's full. If you look over at the charger, I don't know if you won't be able to see it. The camera's screwing it all up from the refresh rate, but the it says FUL, so it's full. So I'm going to just go directly to the motor from the battery. Let's see. Get this to clip on there. So I disconnected the leads going in because I don't want that to backfeed the solenoid and damage that. And then what I'll do is I'll just attach the ground to the battery, the negative side, and then I'm just going to tap the plus because I don't know which direction this is going to want to go. Okay, got nothing. And it is engaged. Great. So she's dead. Brand new, got it mounted, and it's dead. So, lesson of the day is to test it before you go through and do all this. Yet another trip to Harbor Freight later. Got back and hooked it up to that larger 12-volt battery. Like I said, I don't think there was anything really necessarily wrong with that, but there's battery acid all over the place, so I'm not going to use that one. So I got this bigger one. I'll just throw it up on the tailgate, and now things seem to be working. It's going both ways. So let's go out and get that tractor unstuck.
There's the road. There's the supply thing, and then I tie it to that thing there, and then I pull down this thing here, and then pull it back up.
So as you can see, it did work. Hopefully I didn't do any damage to anything. I think it was mostly resting on the chassis. Yeah, I'd like completely buried the exhaust at one point. That's why we had to get out and shovel everything. But I won't know until I get this all cleaned up, but at least she's out. So like I said, the winch definitely worked, and just a couple comments. Definitely had some problems getting the cable bound up, which I honestly, to be honest, I've never even used a winch before. So you definitely want the truck to be perfectly straight, lined up with whatever you're pulling out. I've seen some pictures and videos of some guys that have made like some swivel type winch attachments for the back of their truck. I haven't seen those online. I'm sure they exist. Like I said, I've seen pictures and videos. They'd probably be a better idea for a setup like that, or at the very least, just make sure that your truck is perfectly lined up with what you're pulling out. And another kind of lesson learned was it turned out my jumper cables were fried, which I had no idea. The metal conductors had burned out and separated, and that's why when I hooked the battery directly up to the winch, it didn't move. So lesson learned there as well. I just used a multimeter and figured out that there was no 12 volts going to the winch. So yeah, overall, I'm glad the tractor's out and I didn't have to spend, $1,000 or whatever it would be to have, a crew come out. Woo, it's cold out. Have a crew come out. Oh my God, that wind is cold. And get the tractor out for me. Whew, I can't breathe. So hopefully you liked this video and learned something from my mistakes, and if you did, please like, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks, guys.